At the party, my girlfriend lost a game of truth or dare. She had to call the person she regretted losing the most in her life. She asked the person on the other end, "If I got divorced now, would you give me a home?" When the words fell, the entire room went silent. Everyone thought I would fly into a rage and flip the table. But to their surprise, I just calmly took off the ring from my ring finger. "We haven't registered our marriage yet, so it's not too late." "Then, let's break up. I'll make room for him," I said. Before my girlfriend could speak, I had already turned and left. Midway, I dialed a number far away in Jingbei. "Mom and Dad, I agree to come home and get married." "That's great, Xiaofan. You've finally seen sense. You are the sole heir to the Zhang group, after all. If you hadn't insisted on gaining experience outside all these years, you should have married and taken over the family business long ago. Your father and I have already picked out a candidate. We were just waiting for you to speak up." Hearing the relieved tone of the old couple, a bit of guilt rose in my heart, and my voice softened unconsciously. "I'll follow your arrangements." "Good. Let's set the wedding for January 19th. How about that? When are you coming back? Do you want to meet the marriage partner in advance? I'll arrange a meeting for you soon." My mom's constant nagging and eager manner gave me a bit of a headache. I didn't care who I married and couldn't muster any interest, so I interrupted her. "I want to return to the Jiang family early, to share your burdens. The marriage is just a side matter. There's no need to meet. Just arrange the wedding. I'll be back the day before the wedding." Just as I finished speaking, the bedroom door was pushed open from the outside. Hearing the noise, I subconsciously turned my head and saw Bai Ningbing walking in with a frown. "Wedding? What wedding?" Facing Bai Ningbing's face full of confusion, I calmly hung up the phone and made up a random excuse to brush her off. "A friend is getting married and wants me to be the best man." Hearing this, the expression on Bai Ningbing's face finally softened. She didn't ask further, put my phone on the table, and turned to enter the bathroom. A moment later, the pitter-patter of water sounded, and the phone on the table rang. Hearing the continuous chiming, I hesitated for a moment and clicked on the screen. A message from someone labeled Shen Haoyu popped up. "Do you still remember what was said back then? You aren't seriously thinking about marrying Zhang Fan, are you?" This sentence made my heart tighten. My hands paused for a moment, then I gently swiped up. Subsequently, a message sent by Bai Ningbing 10 minutes ago came into view. "Shen Haoyu, in 33 days. It will be your 28th birthday. Do you still remember what you promised me back then?" I put the phone back in its original place and leaned back on the sofa, memories flashing through my mind. That year when I was 18, my aunt returned to the country to get married, and I followed her back and entered Yunda University. To better enjoy university life and for safety reasons, I never mentioned my identity to anyone. During the freshman welcome party in my senior year, to help out a roommate, I went on stage to accompany a song. After the performance, I carried my instrument off stage, looked down, and saw Bai Ningbing. She was wearing a white gauze dress, holding a bouquet of flowers and waiting at the door. Her eyes were sparkling as she looked at me. "Can I have your contact information?" I am a person who values looks, so I agreed on the spot. After that, the two of us contacted each other every day and would run into each other in various places from time to time. In the 3rd month of knowing each other, Bai Ningbing took the initiative to confess. With first love and love at first sight, I had no reason to refuse. The two of us stayed together like that, from age 21 to 28. For 7 years, my family kept urging me to return for an arranged marriage. After I refused multiple times, I also tested her thoughts a few times. But every time the word marriage was mentioned, Bai Ningbing would avoid the topic like a plague and never mention it. At first, I thought she just didn't want to enter marriage yet. But as it happened more often, I sensed something was wrong. Until a half-month ago, during a casual chat after some drinks at a party, I heard the truth. It turned out the person in Bai Ningbing's heart had always been her childhood friend, Shen Haoyu. Unfortunately, the love was unrequited. Shen Haoyu only treated her as a friend. And the reason she took the initiative to approach me was only because on the night I appeared, Shen Hakutu was with someone else. My appearance, while playing the piano on stage, had a few hints of her crush's shadow. To soothe her disappointment, and to spite Shen Haoyu, she chose me. Over the next few years, Shen Haoyu dated dozens of times. Every time she heard news of his breakup, Bai Ningbing thought about going to find him. But before she could speak, Shen Haoyu would find a new target. The sadness in her heart intensified. Just like that, 7 years passed in circles, and we still hadn't broken up. Bai Ningbing never gave up waiting for Shen Haoyu to change his mind. Waiting for a drunken joke Shen Haoyu made in their youth. Bing Bing, when I'm 28, if we're both still unmarried, how about we just make do and try being together? So, she would ask him once every year, and this year she finally reached Shen Haoyu's 28th. Browsing the chat in Bai Ningbing's phone, I smiled. 33 days later would be Shen Haoyu's 28th birthday, and it was also the day I chose for myself to break up and go home to get married. Seeing Bai Ningbing enter the study, I also got up, turned off the light, and lay back in bed. After an unknown amount of time, in the pitch-black room, there was a sound of very light footsteps. The faintly glowing phone was placed on the bedside table, and a person lay down behind me. Then there was a long silence, until a faint and rhythmic breathing sound came from beside me. I opened my eyes, reached out, and took Bai Ningbing's phone. Clicking it again, the original chat interface only had 4 more words. Never forgotten. A very simple sentence, yet one can imagine the situation Bai Ningbing was in while typing these words. She was likely biting her lip, eyes fixed on the screen, seriously typing a long string of words and then deleting them, carefully weighing every word. She was afraid her feelings would be easily noticed, yet also afraid they wouldn't be noticed at all. This careful and cautious attitude only appeared when she faced Shen Haoyu. Thinking about it, a bitter smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. She was wholeheartedly focused on the 28-year-old agreement, waiting for Shen Haoyu to agree to marry her. I didn't fall asleep all night with my eyes closed. After dawn, there was a rustling sound beside me. I took the opportunity to open my eyes. Leave work early today. Bai Ningbing was applying skincare products and looked over with a puzzled face. Is something wrong? After a long silence, I spoke slowly. Today is your birthday, did you forget? Bai Ningbing's body stiffened slightly, then she nodded. For the past half-month, Bai Ningbing's heart had been focused on the 28-year-old agreement with Shen Haoyu. She couldn't care about anything else. And now even her own birthday was pushed to the back of her mind. Thinking back to myself, who had spent the last 2 months painstakingly preparing a surprise only for it to be a waste of effort, my heart was a mixed bag of emotions. Bai Ningbing didn't notice the change in expression on my face and instructed, just keep it simple, no need to be as grand as before. In previous years, I would always go to great lengths to hold a birthday party for her just to make her happy. It was just that she never cared about my efforts. So hearing this sentence, my tone carried a hint of self-mockery. Quote, the party is already prepared, and everyone has agreed to come. It can't be canceled. This birthday party had been prepared 3 months ago. At that time, I didn't know she had someone else in her heart. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have organized it. Hearing my explanation, Bai Ningbing didn't say anything more that night, picked up her phone, and left the bedroom. Before she turned around, I caught a glimpse of her slightly furrowed brow. After arriving at the company, I first went to the supervisor's office to submit my resignation. When I came out again, seeing the resignation report in my hand, the office exploded. Xiaofan, are you leaving? Why quit just like that? Have you found your next job? Being so decisive, are you going back to inherit a billion-dollar family fortune? Hearing everyone's concern, I put down the things in my hand and smiled gently. I'm going to get married. My colleagues nodded in realization. However, Qin Hao, who has always been close to me, leaned over her and asked a couple of questions. Afan, did your girlfriend finally agree to get married? How did she suddenly see the light? I didn't bother to explain further and shifted the topic. Thanks for everyone's care all these years. I'll treat everyone to dinner later. After work, I ate with 4 or 5 colleagues for 2 hours. By the time I rushed to the hotel, it was already 8 o'clock. I hurried to the door of the private room. And just as I was about to push the door open, the conversation from inside made me stop. It's so cold outside. Who is Bing Bing going to pick up? Who else? Shen Haoyu. I was close by and heard everything. Shen Haoyu said he's coming back today. And she eagerly went to pick him up. Really? Then Bing Bing must be overjoyed. Today is her 28th birthday, and in over a month, Shen Haoyu will be 28 too, coming back at this time. Could he really be coming to fulfill the promise? I heard Shen Haoyu is single again. It looks like he's really back. But if they really get together, What about Jiang Fan? We've kept it from him for so long, been 7 years, and he doesn't even know who Shen Haoyu is, yet he's still wholeheartedly in love with Bingbing. What can be done? Who told Bingbing to fall head over heels for Shen Haoyu? If Shen Haoyu agrees to fulfill the promise, he'll 100% be dumped. You can only blame his bad luck. Fortunately, he doesn't have much of a background. It'll be easy to dismiss him if they break up. I heard he's been great to us and Bingbing all these years. But we are Bingbing's best friends. So we definitely have to stand on her side. If they really break up, let's not make it hard for Bingbing. We'll step in and give him some cars or houses as a breakup fee. I listened quietly for a long time without any movement. Actually, I had already made plans to leave. I wasn't as sad as I was half a month ago. Instead, I found it somewhat funny. Bai Ningbing wants to break up with me and even wants her friends to step in to dismiss me. What kind of relationship have I been in for these 7 years? It's just a pity that this time, I am the one leaving first. I stood outside the door. Just then, a few servers pushed drinks over. I quickly stepped aside. The moment the door opened, the discussion inside came to an abrupt halt. Acting as if nothing had happened, I walked in with a smile and greeted everyone. After chatting for a while, Bai Ningbing walked in again with a strange man. Looking at that figure that was 30 to 40% similar to mine, I observed him quietly. Bai Ningbing took him around the room once and finally walked up to me, introducing, "This is my childhood friend Shen Haoyu." Bai Ningbing hesitated for a moment before continuing, "This is my ordinary friend, Jiang Fan." When she said this, Bai Ningbing was prepared for me to get angry. But things developed beyond her expectations. I had no reaction. I just looked up and took a deep look at her, then withdrew my hand and took 2 steps back to maintain distance from the two of them. With a decent smile on my face, I said, "Hello, Mr. Shen. I am Bai Ningbing's ordinary friend." After the introductions, the room became lively again. Shen Haoyu has an outgoing personality and gets along with everyone. Holding a glass of wine, he toasted from one end to the other. He pulled a bunch of people to drink and play games. When he got excited, his hands were busy with cards, so he needed someone to feed him pieces of watermelon. Bai Ningbing didn't even think. She used her own fork to pick up a piece and feed him. Shen Haoyu didn't think much of it either, turned sideways to eat a few bites, and then picked up her glass and drank half a glass of red wine. I sat a few meters away, watching Bai Ningbing hold onto that glass without letting go, drinking glass after glass, and the spot she drank from each time was exactly where Shen Haoyu's mouth had just touched. By the end, she was already a bit drunk. But the classic birthday process couldn't be skipped. Everyone sang the birthday song while asking her to get up, blow out the candles, and make a wish. The noisy room instantly fell silent. I got up and personally pushed the cake over and lit the candles. Looking at the 28 on the candles, Bai Ningbing rubbed her temples, trying to disperse the drunkenness. Her already scattered gaze swept around the room, and then she held up a finger. "I don't want to make a wish for this year's birthday. Let's change it to a question." As she spoke, she pointed at Shen Haoyu, and that unclear, yet incredibly burning gaze fell straight on him. "Haoyu, you're about to be 28 too. I want to ask you a question. Do you have a girlfriend now?" As soon as this sentence came out, all the onlookers looked at each other, facing the prying eyes from all directions. Shen Haoyu was slightly stunned and answered her, "I don't have one now." Onlookers looked at each other, facing the prying eyes from all directions. Shen Haoyu was slightly stunned and answered her, "I don't have one now." After a brief silence, someone shouted, "Wow!" with surprise. And the room instantly exploded. A few best friends who were drunk stood up, pushing the intoxicated Bai Ningbing to sing and dance. Looking at this chaotic scene, I sat still, calmly and indifferently, playing the role of an ordinary friend who was kept in the dark and knew nothing. The birthday party finally ended in the early hours of the morning. After everyone had dispersed, I helped Bai Ningbing into the car. She was immersed in her previous joy, lying in my arms and saying many heartfelt truths. She said with a crying tone, "Shen Haoyu, don't leave! Stay by my side, okay? Why can they all do it but I can't? I've waited for you for many, many years, waiting for you every day." The driver in the front seat listened all the way and chuckled all the way. When getting out of the car, he saw me supporting the drunk woman and didn't forget to tease, "Sir, your girlfriend loves you very much." I gave the driver a slight smile, my tone indifferent. "She loves Shen Haoyu very much. but I am not Shen Haoyu. Waking up after a night of hangover, Bai Ningbing remembered what happened last night. Grabbing me, she began to explain, Afan, as soon as I arrived at the club yesterday, I was forced to drink a lot. I might have said a lot of nonsense. That was all drunken talk. Please don't take it to heart. I didn't expect her to still remember last night's events, nor did I expect her to find such a clumsy excuse. But I still calmly and rationally cooperated with her performance, nodding slightly. It's okay, I know. For some reason, looking at my calm and rippleless face and recalling my reaction when she introduced me to Shen Haoyu yesterday, Bai Ningbing felt inexplicably flustered. Thinking it over, she felt something was wrong and quickly changed the subject. Yesterday, I was too busy drinking with everyone and left you aside. Jiang Fan, are you a little angry? Shall we go on a date after work today? Angry? I have something to do this afternoon, so I won't go. Seeing my attitude of flat refusal, Bai Ningbing instead insisted even more on compensating me. I couldn't sway her, so I had to agree. In the evening, I had just changed my clothes and was about to go out when Chinhao's message suddenly came through. Afan, did you not tell your girlfriend about your resignation? She just came looking for you and seems very angry now. Before I could finish reading the message, Bai Ningbing's call came. Looking at the screen, a flash of solemnity crossed my eyes. After hesitating for a moment, I pressed the answer button. Bai Ningbing's furious voice came through the phone. Your colleague told me you resigned and are going to get married. While I was still thinking about what excuse to use to explain, Bai Ningbing continued to criticize coldly. I told you, I have no plans to get married right now. Only then did I realize that Bai Ningbing thought I was trying to force a marriage. No wonder she had such a big temper. I patiently explained a few words. I said a few jokes to my colleagues, and they probably took it seriously. I resigned because I've been a bit tired lately and wanted to rest. Hearing this, the voice in my ear finally returned to normal. Don't make this kind of joke in the future. I responded in a low voice and heard Bai Ningbing ask where I was and if she should come over. I was about to give the address when I suddenly heard an extremely faint laugh, sounding very much like Shen Haoyu. That okay hovered in my mouth for a moment before turning into no need. The call was quickly hung up. Looking at the darkening screen, a self-mocking smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. If she really wanted to come and find me, how could the call be hung up so quickly? It was just going through the motions of asking. How did I still take it seriously? I hailed a taxi and arrived at the agreed restaurant. After the waiter heard the name, he led me straight to the rooftop restaurant. As soon as the private room door was pushed open, there was a table full of food, but no one in sight. Seeing my confused eyes, the waiter explained very respectfully. Miss Bai called 10 minutes ago to order the meal and asked you to eat first. She has some urgent business and might be a little late. Recalling that call just now, a realization appeared on my face. Urgent business? I'm afraid she's gone to accompany Shen Haoyu again. Actually, it wasn't exactly a lie. After all, for her, as long as it's accompanying her crush, even a matter as small as a sesame seed is considered urgent. I didn't dwell on it too much and went straight into the room. The waiter eagerly unpacked the tableware for me and introduced the dishes one by one. Looking at the table full of seafood, I narrowed my eyes slightly. During those years in Europe, I wasn't used to Western food and often ate seafood until I was bored of it. Since returning to the country, I still haven't quite adapted. If I were dining with her in the past, seeing these dishes, I would mostly go along with her. But now, I don't want to wrong myself at all. I waved my hand and told the waiter to take them away. Mr. Jiang, Miss Bai has already paid for this table, and it's very expensive. Are you sure you don't want it? If it's all removed, our store will not issue a refund. I raised my eyebrows, took a card out of my bag, and handed it over. Quote, I know, remove them first. For the newly ordered dishes, just swipe this card. Don't worry, I can afford it. By the time I finished my meal, Bai Ningbing still hadn't appeared. I didn't bother to wait for her anymore, paid the bill, and went home. Halfway there, several messages came through. Afan, can you go out and stay for a night today? Haoyu suddenly returned to the country, and the old house hasn't been cleaned up, so he can't stay there. He's also caught a cold, and his stomach is a bit uncomfortable, so he can't be without someone to take care of him. I want him to come over and stay for a night, is that okay? On one hand, she wants to take care of Shen Haoyu, and on the other hand, she's afraid he'll discover our relationship. How interesting. This time, I was not in the mood to cooperate with Bai Ningbing's acting and asked her directly, "Isn't he your friend? Why do you have to hide our relationship? And how long do you intend to hide it?" It took a long time after the message was sent to receive a reply. Bai Ningbing didn't make any explanation and only replied with a date, January 18th. In the past, I naturally wouldn't know why she chose this day. Now I know clearly that the 18th is Shen Haoyu's birthday. If Shen Haoyu fulfills the promise that day and gets together with her, she would likely break up with me without hesitation. If Shen Haoyu doesn't agree that day, she would settle down and propose marriage to me, using a testing tone to ask for the truth. If rejected, she still has me, the official boyfriend, as a backup, and it can be called a joke. Whether moving forward or backward, she has a perfect solution. I almost admire her. Unfortunately, I am no longer willing to be the backup in her relationship. I didn't reply to her anymore and turned off my phone. Then I booked a hotel and checked in. I drank some wine before bed and slept until the afternoon. I wanted to check the time, but as soon as I turned it on, dozens of new messages popped up. Most were from Bai Ningbing, and a few were from those best friends of hers. "Where are you? Why aren't you answering the phone or replying to messages? Don't scare people. Bing Bing went crazy looking for you all night." Looking at these messages full of accusations, I sneered. Is turning off the phone to sleep scaring people? Besides, which one of them doesn't know that Shen Haoyu is the one Bai Ningbing holds dear? Would she care if I lived or died? As I was thinking, Bai Ningbing's call came. Her temper wasn't great. "Afan, Haoyu just came over to stay for a night. Is it necessary to be this angry? Even if you're unhappy, you shouldn't vent your dissatisfaction this way." I didn't bother to explain much either, so I made an excuse. No dissatisfaction. The phone just ran out of battery and turned off automatically. In the past, Bai Ningbing would mostly believe these words. Today, for some reason, she was suddenly suspicious and asked back, "Then why could you be reached no matter when in the past, but happened to be turned off last night?" Hearing her questioning, I was stunned for a moment, and many past events came to mind. One late night, several years ago, Bai Ningbing suddenly had a stomachache. When calling her secretary, she dialed me by mistake. After I heard, I immediately got up and delivered medicine to her. Last year, she went on a business trip abroad with a 7 or 8 hour time difference. Bai Ningbing couldn't remember my time here and called at 3 or 4 in the morning to ask about a document. I endured the sleepiness to get up and open the monitor to help her find it. 3 months ago, I had appendicitis surgery. Just after leaving the operating table, and before the anesthesia had even worn off, her message came saying she wanted to drink milk tea. I still asked the nurse to bring it back. Each and every instance was proof of my extreme love for her. It's just a pity that no matter how much I gave, she couldn't see it. Thinking of this, my tone uncontrollably took on a bit of self-mockery. "I was just afraid I wouldn't be there when you needed me. Yesterday you shouldn't have needed me." Hearing my ambiguous tone, Bai Ningbing's inner heart trembled slightly. Being together for 7 years, I followed her in everything and listened to her. The two of us had never argued or turned red in the face. There were many things she didn't want to explain, and I never forced an answer. Even if I occasionally got a bit sulky, it would be fine after a little coaxing. In daily life, from daily chores to dining dates, I took care of her in every way. Asking herself, Bai Ningbing had to admit that I was an almost perfect boyfriend. Remembering my past kindness to her, her tone couldn't help but soften. "I see. I was too worried about you just now. So I spoke so harshly. Sorry, Afan. Where are you now? I'll come find you." I didn't want to see her at this time, so I just said no need and took a taxi back. As soon as I got home, the nanny told me that Bai Ningbing had just gone out. I didn't need to guess. I knew it was likely Shen Haoyu calling her away again. There was a lingering scent of men's perfume in the air. I didn't ask where she went and quietly told the nanny to open the windows to let in some fresh air. For the next half month, I didn't see Bai Ningbing again. I seemed to have forgotten her as a girlfriend, not making a single call or replying to a single message. Through Shen Haoyu's social media circle, I clearly tracked her movements, but I didn't want to question her whereabouts, nor did I want to delve into what kind of thoughts she was harboring. For me, every day now was just a countdown. I had no interest in spending any more effort on someone I was destined to say goodbye to. On New Year's Eve, snow fell from the sky. I was in a good mood and watched movies by the floor-to-ceiling window all night. In the early morning hours, fireworks and firecrackers roared outside. I was a bit tired and lay back on the rocking chair browsing social media. There was a sudden sound of footsteps in front of the door that had been quiet all night. I propped myself up from the chair and saw a dead-drun Bai Ningbing returning. She stumbled in through a pile of bags she was carrying onto the sofa and then unpacked them one by one in front of me. These are 2 scarves I just bought. It's snowing so hard outside. Afan, are you cold? Afan, this is a Rolex I bought a few days ago, a New Year's gift for you. See if you like it? While talking like a madwoman, she stuffed the gifts in her hands onto me all at once. I felt hot and unwound the scarf. She started grabbing my hand and apologizing. I'm sorry, I've been too busy these past few days and didn't have time to come back to see you. Are you angry with me again? And last time I shouldn't have stood you up. Afan, please forgive me, okay? Let's be good together from now on. When saying this, Bai Ningbing even leaned in wanting to kiss me. I couldn't stand the smell of alcohol on her, nor did I know what illness she was having again. After much talking, I coaxed her into the bedroom. After she fell asleep, I cleaned up the bags scattered all over the living room floor and then picked up my phone. The messages showing off love in the social circle were one after another. The one that attracted me the most was still Shen Haoyu's. He posted a grid of 9 photos, all of which were photos with a girl in the snow. The caption was also very interesting. Meeting during the first snow, someone new, right, and liked. Seeing this, all the doubts in my heart were solved. No wonder Bai Ningbing would suddenly come back drunk and take the initiative to be kind to me. It turned out the person she liked was dating someone new. Of course, if it weren't for this, how could she have thought of me, an old person? A hint of irony flashed in my eyes. I reached out, unbuckled the watch on my wrist, and tossed it on the table. For the next few days, Bai Ningbing seemed like a different person, going nowhere and staying at home, saying she wanted to accompany me. When my stomach was uncomfortable, she would obediently stay by my side to cook rice porridge for me. When I looked at a travel advertisement a few extra times, she started planning to accompany me on a trip after the new year. Perhaps because her heart was hurt, she was more attentive to me this time than ever before. But I would no longer be moved by her. I quietly watched Bai Ningbing play the role of a qualified girlfriend, looking at her busy herself for a while based on a few words of mine. I felt no guilt at all in my heart. During this final period, let all this effort serve as repayment for the past. Thinking this way, my psychological burden lessened even more. After bloodletting, my mother sent over several styles of wedding suits. Asking which one I liked, I held my phone, swiping through and zooming in on them one by one, looking at the details of the clothes. Perhaps I was too focused, because when Bai Ningbing walked up to me with light steps, I didn't notice at all. It wasn't until the phone was snatched away by her that I turned my head, only to see Bai Ningbing's face instantly darken. A groom suit? Why are you looking at a groom suit? I lied without even blinking. Didn't I tell you last time? A friend is getting married soon, and there's a problem with the wedding attire. They're picking a new one and want me to help consult. Seeing that my expression was no different than usual, Bai Ningbing slowly dismissed her suspicions and returned the phone to me, asking casually, I forgot what date the wedding is. I'll go with you. Looking at her serious expression, a very subtle look appeared on my face. January 19th. Do you really want to go? Hearing this date? Bai Ningbing froze slightly. I stared at her fixedly, patiently waiting for her answer. After a long silence, she pulled out a very forced smile to cope. I'll see then. Since that question, Bai Ningbing fell into a state of despondency again, acting like she was dreaming all day, preoccupied with her thoughts. Using the wedding as a cover, I didn't avoid her and packed my luggage right in front of her. It's been 6 years since I moved into this riverside apartment after graduation. My things filled the room. I only picked the items I bought myself to put into the suitcase. I didn't take a single thing besides those. Anyway, returning to Jingbei is my territory. If I lack anything, I'll just buy it. These things can just stay here. Occasionally, when Bai Ningbing recovered, she would flip through my suitcase. After seeing the items inside, she never asked a single question. I knew that her heart was currently full of expectations for Shen Haoyu. She was so focused on the birthday invitation that she didn't notice at all that I had secretly thrown away many personal items. As long as those couple's items I once cherished as treasures were still there, she would never suspect that once I left this time, I would never return. After all, in her eyes, my love for her had reached a point where I would give my life for her. So how could she proactively suspect that I was truly going to leave? Holding an attitude of cutting ties, I packed exceptionally easily. January 18th. The weather was gloomy, as if it were about to rain. Bai Ningbing got up very early and sat on the sofa, staring at her phone constantly. I got up a bit later and sat at the dining table eating breakfast. The nanny looked at the sky and asked, "Mr. Jiang, it looks like it's going to rain. Should we leave for the airport earlier?" Hearing this, Bai Ningbing raised her head and subconsciously asked, "What are you going to the airport for?" "I'm going to a wedding tomorrow. I asked you to consider it before. Have you decided now?" I explained casually, watching Bai Ningbing quietly. She was silent for a few seconds before finally saying, "It's too far. I'm not going. I'll see you off to the airport." I wasn't surprised by this answer. I finished the last piece of toast and then went back to the bedroom to pick up my luggage. Just as Bai Ningbing buckled her seatbelt, her phone suddenly rang once. Bai Ningbing hurriedly clicked it open, and in the next second, her usually cold eyes revealed a joy that could no longer be hidden. She put down her phone, directly unbuckled her seatbelt, and pushed open the car door. After getting out of the car, she realized what she was doing and quickly leaned down to explain to me, "Jiang Fan, something suddenly came up at the company that I have to handle first. I'll have the driver take you to the airport." Having been together for so many years, I could easily judge from Bai Ningbing's flickering eyes that she was lying. But I didn't expose her and just nodded slightly. During the time I waited for the driver, I opened my social circle and, as expected, scrolled to the photos shared by Shen Haoyu from his birthday scene. The figure of that young beauty was no longer by his side. It seemed they had broken up again. This also meant that the agreement Shen Haoyu mentioned back then, that if he weren't married at 28, he would be with Bai Ningbing, had hope again. No wonder she was so happy. When the driver arrived, Bai Ningbing had also changed into a white evening gown and sat in the sports car next to us. Full of spirit, she rolled down the window and waved at me. "When are you coming back?" I smiled and didn't answer. Bai Ningbing didn't care either, and quickly drove the sports car away. I sat in the passenger seat, watching that sports car drive out of sight before softly instructing the driver, "Let's go." A light rain began to fall from the sky, wetting the car window and blurring the mirror. I couldn't see anything around me clearly anymore, and I didn't want to look anymore either. I closed my eyes and silently said in my heart, "Goodbye, never to see you again." Before boarding, I received a call from my father. "A fan, what time do you arrive? I'll have the driver pick you up." I also wanted to go home early and didn't refuse. I didn't sleep soundly last night, so I was a bit sleepy as soon as I got on the plane. I slept through the more than 2-hour flight. After landing in Jingbei, I put on my hat and sunglasses. Just as I walked out of the arrival gate, I was stopped by someone. "Jiang Fan?" Hearing this crisp voice, I nodded with sleepy eyes. "It was Uncle Gao who asked me to pick you up." I squinted my eyes and glanced at Liu Ruyan, thinking she must be the driver. But why was it a beautiful girl? As soon as I got into the car, I leaned against the window and dozed off again. When I woke up, I saw a strange villa outside the car window, and my tone carried heavy suspicion. "Where is this? It's not my house, right?" Seeing my reaction, Liu Ruyan smiled gently. "It isn't today, but it will be tomorrow. To be precise, it's the wedding house." The realization that it was a wedding house made me freeze right on the spot. I woke up completely, took off my hat and sunglasses, and looked down at Liu Ruyan, just happening to crash into those smiling eyes. Seeing the shock in my eyes, Liu Ruyan also understood the reason and proactively reached out her hand to me. I forgot to introduce myself. "Mr. Jiang, I am Liu Ruyan." I awkwardly squeezed out a smile and quickly reached out to shake Liu Ruyan's hand, my tone full of guilt. "I'm sorry, I just woke up and misidentified you. I am Jiang Fan." Liu Ruyan smiled, her voice incredibly lighthearted, not minding at all. "It's okay, we have a lot of time in the future to get to know each other slowly." At the same time, on the other side, Bai Ningbing bowed her head in front of the private room to tidy her skirt, seriously smoothing every wrinkle. The phone vibrated a few times. She took it out to look. It was a message from the driver saying that Mr. Jiang had already boarded. After hesitating again and again, she still sent a message over. "Remember to report your safety when you arrive." After gathering her mood, Bai Ningbing took a deep breath and pushed open the door, her eyes locked onto that figure in the center that haunted her dreams. Her heartbeat even sped up a bit unconsciously. She walked over quickly. Across a few people, he heard several boys nearby seemingly joking about something. How you have to bring her to show us today. What's the hurry after hiding her for so long? When I make a wish later, I'll definitely give you all an eye-opening experience. Make a wish? Bai Ningbing recalled what happened at her own birthday party a month ago, and a sense of expectation rose in her heart. It seemed the joke from when they were 16 was going to come true today. For several hours, Bai Ningbing's mind was constantly on this matter. She nervously took several sips of wine. By the time the cake was pushed up, her hands were trembling slightly. Several best friends surrounded Bai Ningbing, their eyes full of ambiguous joy. Bing Bing, the dream is about to come true. How is your mood? Bai Ningbing lowered her head, smiling without speaking. Tang Yan was also watching the fun, but suddenly remembered something and reached out to put a hand on Bai Ningbing's shoulder. If that thing happens, what should Jiang Fan do? Hearing the name Jiang Fan at Shen Haoyu's birthday scene, Bai Ningbing's smile came to an abrupt halt, and a bit of guilt rose in her heart. Seeing her face was wrong, several best friends quickly comforted her. It's okay, break up now. Anyway, he's just an ordinary boy, easy to dismiss. Right, if he comes to make a scene, we'll solve it for you. Bing Bing. Just rest assured. Under the urging of several people, Bai Ningbing took out her phone and typed a few words, but her finger stopped at the send button. Seeing her indecision, several people were a bit anxious, grabbed her hand, and pressed it down. On the screen was, "Are you there? Tell me when you arrive." And below it appeared a new message. Let's break up. The two messages were 3 hours apart. Calculating the time, my plane should have landed. I should be able to see this message very soon, right? While Bai Ningbing was still thinking, her friends directly pulled her to the center position. Amidst the birthday songs filling the room, and under Bai Ningbing's eager gaze, Shen Haoyu folded his hands and devoutly made a wish. I hope that at 28, everything goes my way, and I can make next year's wish together with Ruxu. Bai Ningbing's face, which was smiling a second ago, instantly became incredibly pale. The other people in the room were also shocked. Who is Ruxu? Introduce her to everyone! Amidst the cheering, a hint of a blush appeared on Shen Haoyu's face. She is my new girlfriend. Just as he finished speaking, the private room door was pushed open from the outside. A girl with a rather good-looking face walked in slowly, smiling and greeting everyone. Hello everyone, I am Shen Haoyu's girlfriend, Xia Ruxue. Amidst the clamor, Shen Haoyu smiled and held his new girlfriend's hand, sharing small details of their relationship with friends. Bai Ningbing sat in the corner, drinking glass after glass, with her best friends. As they drank, the whole group became drunk. Tang Yan stood up shakily, walked to Shen Haoyu, and in front of everyone's surprised eyes, voiced the grievance for her best friend. Shen Haoyu, did you forget the promise you made to Bing Bing back then? Hearing this, a flash of curiosity also crossed Xia Ruxu's face. Promise? What promise? Shen Haoyu's face instantly became extremely ugly. But Tang Yan was drunk and didn't care at all. Seeing this, the other best friends also quickly came up to support the scene. You promised Bing Bing you would be with her at 28. We all remember. Are you going to be a heartless man? Xia Ruxu's face, which originally held a smile, slowly became cold. She turned her head and took a deep look at Shen Haoyu. Is it true? How can drunken jokes be taken seriously? Besides, what I said back then was under the condition that I was single, but I have a girlfriend now, so how can it count? Word by word, it stabbed into Bai Ningbing's heart like an axe. She held her chest, which was in extreme pain, with one hand, and supported herself on the sofa to stand up. Under everyone's gaze, she began to laugh like crazy. Yes, it doesn't count. You have a girlfriend, and I have a boyfriend too. Jokes are all jokes. A few words brought a smile back to Xia Ruxu's face. She nodded, held Shen Haoyu's hand, and walked in front of Bai Ningbing, showing an expression as if nothing had happened. It seems it really was a misunderstanding. I heard long ago that President Bai has a boyfriend. Why didn't you bring him over today? Bai Ningbing's mind was blank, yet she still forced a smile to meet Xia Ruxue's gaze. He went back to attend a wedding. No time. Hearing this, Xia Ruxue nodded in realization. However, a flash of displeasure quickly crossed the eyes of Shen Haoyu on the side, his tone full of distrust. Boyfriend? Who? I've been back in the country for so long. Why haven't I heard you mention him? Seeing Shen Haoyu's face again, Bai Ningbing couldn't say a single word. Tang Yan quickly stepped forward to support Bai Ningbing, looking at Shen Haoyu with hatred and mockery in her tone. Zhang Fan is Bingbing's boyfriend. He is the most handsome boy at her birthday party. It's him? Shen Haoyu recalled that night when I smiled and talked about being an ordinary friend. He always felt something was wrong. He subconsciously asked back, but that day, both of them said they were ordinary friends. Just a little couple having a spat, that's all. Shen Haoyu, you've dated so many times and you still don't understand this? One sentence made Shen Haoyu's face turn red and white with anger. He looked up and glanced at Tang Yan, unable to swallow this insult no matter what. It's precisely because I've seen a lot that I thought about asking a few more questions. Since you all say he's the boyfriend, why don't I call and ask, just so I can get to know my new brother-in-law? Bai Ningbing and her best friend's faces all turned black in an instant. They simultaneously remembered that breakup message from just now. Just by looking at their faces, Shen Haoyu had full confidence. He directly took out his phone, found my WeChat, and made a voice call. The women knew they were about to be exposed and wanted to go up to snatch the phone, but Xia Rux was very protective and blocked them directly. Shen Haoyu didn't stop there and directly turned the volume to the maximum, opening the speaker to the whole room. The room suddenly became quiet, with only the ringing sound left. Bai Ningbing's hands were retracted into her sleeves, clenched tightly into fists. She secretly prayed in her heart, praying I wouldn't answer this call, praying I hadn't seen that message yet. During the ringing that lasted for a full minute, Bai Ningbing felt her heart was about to jump out of her chest, seeing that the automatic call was about to end and everyone was losing interest. The call was connected. Mr. Shen, is something the matter? Bai Ningbing's face quickly turned ash white. In sharp contrast was Shen Haoyu's face with an unclear smile. Nothing, it's just that today is my birthday. I heard you are Bingbing's boyfriend and wanted to invite you to come and play together. The phone was briefly quiet for a few seconds. Bai Ningbing was so nervous she could almost not breathe. I'm sorry. I'm in Jingbei right now. I'm afraid I can't come. Hearing that my tone was still normal, Bai Ningbing guessed I probably hadn't seen that message yet and relaxed slightly, but my words didn't stop there. An ah was heard significantly, followed by a voice carrying a smile. By the way, I've already broken up with Bai Ningbing. Mr. Shen, please don't misunderstand. Shen Haoyu was a bit surprised, but more of it was gloating. Broken up? When did that happen? Just a little while ago, about 10 minutes ago, I think. I received her breakup message. Everyone surrounding them to watch the show revealed an expression of wanting to laugh, but not daring to. Shen Haoyu's face was flexible. He held a smile and coldly swept his gaze over these deliberately troublesome young ladies, his voice light. Okay, I'll pass it on for you. Sorry to bother you, Mr. Zhang. Then I'll trouble you. I wish you a happy 28th birthday. And I also wish that all lovers will eventually become family. Whether it was unintentional or intentional, when I gave the blessing, I bit the words 28 years old particularly hard. I seemed to be indicating to everyone that I already knew the inside story. No one at the scene dared to speak out and ask, only able to watch helplessly as the call hung up. The atmosphere in the room instantly dropped to the freezing point, remaining quiet for a full 5 or 6 minutes. Finally, Xiao Ruxu stepped forward to be the peacemaker, toasting Bai Ningbing a glass of wine before gently letting this matter pass. Bai Ningbing poured the last drop of wine from the glass into her mouth and then slammed down the glass, leaving the birthday party with several best friends. Before going out the door, Bai Ningbing vaguely heard a few lines of conversation between Xia Ruxu and others. How you? Is this Mr. Zhang from Jingbei? I heard it seems like it. What's wrong? Nothing. The surname Zhang in Jingbei is a bit familiar. I might be overthinking it. As soon as they left the banquet hall, several best friends gathered around, pulling Bai Ningbing to open another private room and comforting her in a cacophony of voices. Bing bing. It's also quite good not to marry a man like Shen Haoyu. Otherwise, given the number of ex-girlfriends he's had in these 7 years, the banquet tables alone would need 10 or so extra tables. This kind of playboy who loves everyone he sees might really cause trouble if you actually married him. Yes, just stay with Afan properly. Right. In what way is Afan not stronger than Shen Haoyu? He must have been angry today to say those words. Bing bing, You go back and coax him well, explain more. He likes you so much, he'll definitely be able to understand. With her best friends helping to provide encouragement, Bai Ningbing's low mood settled down slightly. She took out her phone, found me, and racked her brain to think of a paragraph to send over. Afan, I just lost a game with everyone. The punishment was to say we broke up to my boyfriend, and then have someone call to see your reaction. Don't take it seriously. How long have you been in Jingbei? Have you checked into a hotel? Or are you busy decorating the wedding scene? Are you coming back tomorrow or the day after? I'll come pick you up, okay? A long time passed after the message was sent, but there was no reply. Bai Ningbing's eyes stared fixedly at the screen, her heart in a mess. Several best friends looked at each other and quickly tried to find a way to distract her. Oh, a wedding? He must be too busy to get away. Bing Bing, don't overthink it. When Zhang Fan is free, he'll reply to you. If he's really angry, at worst we'll accompany you to Jingbei tomorrow and apologize in person. When I received Bai Ningbing's message, I was in the room accompanying Liu Ruyan to try on wedding dresses. I clicked on the message, and seeing the first line, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. So she could actually make up such an excuse on the spot. Her brain really is quick. It's just a pity that I won't believe a word of it now. I can already imagine the scene where Bai Ningbing was rejected by Shen Haoyu in public and came to fix things because she couldn't lose face. Recalling that inexplicable call, the scene was probably even more wonderful. At this moment, I suddenly felt a bit of regret that I couldn't see that scene with my own eyes. I gave a light sigh. Liu Luan, who was tidying her skirt, heard it and raised her head. What's wrong? Is this wedding dress not good looking? Then I'll have someone send a new one over. No need. It's just a bit of a regret to miss a good show for the sake of getting married, that's all. A good show? What good show? Is it convenient to tell me? Although I had a desire to share, I knew that mentioning an ex-girlfriend in front of my fiancé was inappropriate, so I thought about changing the subject. It's some friends in Shanghai having birthdays and making some blunders. It's nothing major. Let's focus on the wedding first. Seeing that I was unwilling to say more, Liu Ruyan didn't ask further and went to the living room to get some desserts. Are you a bit hungry? Eat some to tide you over first. After we're done later, I'll go out to eat with you. Is there anything you want to eat? I was indeed a bit hungry. I asked Liu Ruyan if there was anything she wanted to eat, noted them down one by one, and then went out to make arrangements. While ordering, I fell into deep thought. According to the information I just inquired about, Liu Ruyan is the third young miss of the Liu group in Jingbei, 2 years younger than me. She has a sister who is 2 years older than her, and another eldest sister who is 5 years older than her, and is currently the vice president of the Liu group. She was also raised by her eldest sister, so her character is dignified. In the past few years, the Jiang and Liu families have had frequent contact. The Jiang family only tentatively proposed the marriage. After much investigation and inquiry, according to my mother, Liu Ruyan only took one look at my photo and agreed, appearing very satisfied. I didn't agree with this statement. After all, I ended my previous relationship and came back to get married, because I genuinely wanted to contribute to the Jiang family. From beginning to end, I didn't take this marriage to heart, thinking only that if it works, and if it doesn't, we'll divorce. Why would it be love at first sight, as my mother said? And after spending an afternoon together, although the two of us were still not very familiar, I could still feel from the details that this fiancé was good. Her looks go without saying, naturally top tier, and her personality and character, for now, seem very gentle and kind. She does things in an orderly manner, is careful and thoughtful, and also understands social etiquette. Overall, regarding this fiancé who fell from the sky, I am satisfied. Beyond satisfaction, there is also a hint of surprise. It seems my parents' vision is still quite good. After drinking all night, the first thing Bai Ningbing did after waking up was to open her phone to see if I had replied to the message. More than 10 hours had passed, and the chat box was still blank. Bai Ningbing rubbed her eyes hard several times, and threw the phone against the wall as if to vent her anger, which instantly woke everyone up. As soon as everyone saw her actions, their drunkenness dissipated. I didn't expect Jane Fan to also like playing these games of playing hard to get. Don't worry, Bing Bing, we'll accompany you to coax him back. The other few people also quickly leaned over to comfort her. Only then did Bai Ningbing's mood improve a bit. As soon as they left the bar, the group headed straight for the airport. On the way, Bai Ningbing gazed out the window at the distant skyscrapers in a daze, feeling some regret in her heart. If she had known it would be a waste of joy, she might as well have agreed to go to Jingbei yesterday. Thinking and thinking, she felt even more despondent in her heart, and could only forcibly comfort herself that it was also good she didn't go. Hearing Shen Haoyu say those words, she had also completely given up. All these years, there were countless times she couldn't persist and wanted to give up. Yet because of this 28-year-old agreement, she always maintained a glimmer of fantasy. Especially after being with me, she was about to have a mental breakdown, not knowing what face to use to confront this boyfriend who was wholeheartedly dedicated to her. Now, for this double-choice question, it was also time to make the final choice. She tentatively asked her friends, "If I can't coax him today, I want to suggest getting married and see. What do you think?" Hearing the word marriage, several best friends widened their eyes. Marry Jiang Fan? With his family background, your parents wouldn't agree, right? He's good-looking and has a good temper, but I think dating is okay. For actual marriage, he still doesn't quite match you. Although several people were throwing cold water, Bai Ningbing didn't listen at all. She leaned back on the chair, her mind constantly replaying every bit of being with me in the past. After passing her 25th birthday, every few months, I would openly or secretly mention marriage to test her attitude. She knew my thoughts and knew my family was urging, but for that bit of selfishness, she still pretended not to understand. Now both of them were no longer young, and I was so deeply devoted to her. She didn't want to miss me anymore. Although the road ahead for marriage was full of difficulties, she was willing to try. Thinking of this, Bai Ningbing finally made up her mind to propose in Jingbei. She sent a message to her assistant, asking them to photograph that pair of wedding rings that had caused a heated discussion online a while ago. Before getting on the plane, the assistant replied saying that the pair of rings had been bought at the sky-high price of 900 million. Bai Ningbing was a bit surprised. Just a pair of wedding rings, and it went that high? Bai Ningbing asked for the buyer's name, and the assistant sent back a Liu character. Jingbei Liu family? Recalling this name that was like thunder in this circle, Bai Ningbing was also a bit surprised. But she had some friendship with the second young miss of the Liu family. So she called to inquire. "Those wedding rings? I bought them. My sister is getting married today, and I gave them to the newlyweds as a wedding gift." "Bing bing, you asked too late. Miss Liu is also getting married today? How did all the happy events come on the same day?" A flash of surprise crossed her eyes, yet she still weighed her words and apologized very politely. "I drank too much and forgot to bid. The second young miss is being too polite. Since the third young miss is getting married, please convey a congratulation from me. I don't know which family's gentleman is so lucky. My sister is marrying into the Jiang family. They're well-matched and a perfect pair." Upon hearing the word Jiang family, Bai Ningbing thought of me. Jiang Fan is also surnamed Jiang. Could the wedding he went to participate in be the wedding of the Liu and Jiang families? Does Jiang Fan have cousins or friends among the Jiangs in Jingbei? Many strange thoughts popped up in Bai Ningbing's mind, but as soon as she got out of the car and was blown by the cold winter wind, they disappeared cleanly again. She shook her head and pressed her brow, throwing all these messy thoughts to the back of her mind. How could a boy from an ordinary county town have anything to do with the Jiang family? After the plane landed at the capital airport, Bai Ningbing gave me a call. I didn't seem to have cooled down yet, with noisy human sounds around me, and my attitude wasn't great. Does my ex-girlfriend have something specific to say in calling me? Hearing the title ex-girlfriend, Bai Ningbing thought of what happened yesterday, and her blood pressure rose. She knew now was not the time to lose her temper, so she had to suppress her anger and explain patiently. "Afan, that breakup sentence yesterday was really just a joke. Can you believe me? Is that so? I don't care if it was a game. I only believe what I see. No need to explain. I'm very busy right now and have no time to chat with you." After finishing, I didn't care about her reaction and directly hung up the phone. Bai Ningbing was so angry at this attitude that her face turned black. Don't argue on the phone. When you meet later, say some soft words and you'll coax him back instantly. Several best friends took turns persuading her, and Bai Ningbing's face finally softened. "Go to Tingquan Villa. After the words Tinquan Villa were spoken, everyone realized something was wrong and looked at each other. Isn't this place a famous rich area in Jingbei? The people living inside are all big figures who can shake the circle with a single cough. Jiang Fan's friend's wedding banquet is set here? Bai Ningbing's heart also started to thrum. Before getting on the plane, those few thoughts started to emerge again. Could it be that Jiang Fan really is a distant cousin of the Jiang family? At 10:30, the wedding was about to begin, and guests were taking their seats one after another. I stood on the rooftop balcony. This wedding was planned by Liu Ruyan herself, and the arrangement was very thoughtful. I only then realized that what my mother said didn't seem to be a lie, and was even a bit understated. For the marriage of the Jiang and Liu families, logically speaking, all the reputable families in the entire circle would come, but at most, it would be around 700 or 800 tables. Why use such a large venue? Although the sun was out, it was still winter after all, and there was still some chill outdoors. For the guest experience, countless air conditioners were specially placed around. Flowers flown in from Europe were used to decorate the flower stands. Among the favors sent out from the front desk, there were concentric locks made of pure gold, one for every guest. This lavish and extravagant display made even me, who grew up abroad, feel a bit of a twinge in my heart. I smoothed my hair that had been ruffled by the wind, and was about to comment on it when Liu Ruyan walked over. Quote, "It's cold outside, better head in." I nodded and followed her into the room. Liu Ruyan brought me another cup of hot coffee. "Someone just called saying they've arrived in Jingbei and asked where the wedding venue is. Is it a friend of yours? Do we need to send someone to the gate to pick them up?" "What friend?" I quickly picked up my phone to check the call log. Seeing the 3 words Tang Yan, the expression on my face instantly turned a bit strange. Tang Yan's call? So they've arrived in Jingbei? Huh? A meaningful smile curled at the corners of my mouth. No need to pick them up, they'll find their own way in. By the way, there are too many people at the venue. I see many cameras secretly filming from the nearby hills. Better send someone to reinforce the security to prevent any trouble. Liu Ruyan didn't think much of it and agreed. Before leaving, she placed the wedding rings in my hand. Watching Liu Ruyan leave the room, the laughter I had been holding back for so long finally burst out. Bai Ningbing actually came to attend my wedding. I can't imagine how spectacular her face will look when she sees me standing on the stage. I lifted the ring box in my hand and opened it. Upon seeing the pair of rings inside, I froze slightly. I had seen this pair of rings in a magazine 2 months ago, and even shared them with Bai Ningbing. Back then, I was still imagining the scene of kneeling on one knee to propose to her. Who would have thought that just half a month later, I would find out about her and Shen Haoyu, the wedding and the rings I had longed for. I have them both now. As for the choice of bride, it's for the best that it changed. To this day, I have no lingering nostalgia for anything that happened in the past 7 years. There is only a sense of relief. At 11 o'clock sharp, the wedding began on time. Under the gaze of the crowd, Father Leo took his daughter's hand and slowly walked into the center, delivering her to my side. After completing the preceding ritual step by step, the ring exchange segment soon arrived. Liu Ruyan picked up the wedding ring and was about to put it on me, when a sudden commotion broke out below the stage. I turned to look and saw Bai Ningbing at a glance. He looked like she had gone mad, pushing aside those blocking her and staring fixedly at the stage. Several best friends followed her, charging through the fray while shouting my name. The sudden turn of events attracted the attention of all the guests, and everyone's gaze shifted back and forth between the stage and the floor. Facing the malicious stares coming from all sides, I remained very calm. I turned my head to look at Liu Ruyan and, seeing her face full of simmering anger and confusion, quickly whispered an explanation. "Sorry, they're friends of mine from Shanghai. We can pause the wedding proceedings. Give me a few minutes to go over and talk sense into them." Liu Ruyan nodded hesitantly. I waved for all staff to stop. Security had already subdued the several troublemakers and was about to drag them out, but they stopped when they saw my signal. From beginning to end, Bai Ningbing's gaze was locked firmly onto me, never leaving for a second. Seeing me wearing the groom suit, standing before her with a face as calm as a breeze, she could no longer control her temper. "You said you were coming to a friend's wedding. Is this friend yourself?" I couldn't help but want to laugh. Generally speaking, doesn't the phrase, "I have a friend," usually refer to oneself? Bai Ningbing was almost driven to a frantic laugh by these words. When she closed her eyes and opened them again, A raging fire burned in the depths of her eyes. Is this your reason for getting married behind my back? What do you mean, behind your back? The marriage between the Jiang and Liu families has been fermenting online for over a month. Bai Ningbing, do you not use the internet? The words Jiang and Liu seemed to remind Bai Ningbing of something. She suddenly turned her head to look at the bride, Liu Ruyan, next to me. This face was 50% similar to her second sister, Liu Yunsheng. Bai Ningbing recognized it instantly. Her pupils dilated abruptly. The skin at the corners of her mouth trembled slightly, and her entire being screamed the word, unbelievable. Liu Ruyan's marriage partner is Jiang Fan? Then who exactly is Jiang Fan? Tang Yan and the others behind her also realized this problem and cried out in shock. Jiang Fan, you're a member of the Jingbei Jiang family. I looked at them quietly and very patiently began my self-introduction. To be precise, I am the next heir of the Jingbei Jiang family, the only son of Mr. Jiang Shuming and Ms. Ye Xing, and Liu Ruyan's fiancé. Do any of you have further doubts about my identity? This long string of titles instantly silenced all 6 of them. In Shanghai, these young socialites could indeed call the wind and summon the rain, but this is Jingbei, the capital. Their family status was simply not enough to look at in front of the Jiang and Liu families. After an unknown period of silence, Bai Ningbing finally asked, in a hoarse voice, something very important to her. Why did you never say so before? Didn't you also hide a lot from me? For instance, the 28-year-old agreement. 2 sentences made Bai Ningbing's face turn deathly pale. She struggled again, explaining anxiously and incessantly. I can explain this. Afan, it's true I hadn't forgotten Shen Haoyu, but in these 7 years. Halfway through her sentence, Liu Ruyan, who had been watching the changes from the side, interrupted her. She said to the security, "Take them away!" Liu Ruyan took my hand in disgust with me very gently. Now isn't a suitable time to handle this. Afan, after the wedding ends, we can invite your friends to dinner separately. Don't make the guests wait. I didn't expect Liu Ruyan to make such a decisive choice at such a critical moment. Although I nodded in agreement, I still had many doubts in my heart. But now wasn't the right time to resolve them. Liu Ruyan took my arm, and the 2 of us returned to the center of the stage together. The light-hearted piano music played once again. Amidst the congratulations of the crowd, the husband and wife completed the ring exchange ceremony. The moment the bouquet was thrown, many flower petals, feathers, and ribbons drifted down from the sky. The dazzling midday sun fell on Liu Ruyan, illuminating her exquisite and beautiful face. I turned around and stopped looking back, striding toward the future and tomorrow. After finishing this grand wedding, I was somewhat tired. Recalling what happened during the day, I felt it was time to have a heart-to-heart talk with Liu Ruyan. Is there anything you want to ask me about what happened today? Liu Ruyan's hand wiping her face paused. She glanced at me through the mirror. If you want to talk, then I have things to ask. If you don't want to talk, then I have nothing to ask. Her composed and gentle attitude surprised me a bit. For the first time, I felt like I might have married a very extraordinary person. Aren't you curious about what exactly my relationship is with them? Aren't you worried that there might be some entanglements behind everything that happened today? Liu Luan sat on a nearby soft chair, her eyes full of composure. I'm curious and worried, but those aren't important. What's important is that our wedding ended perfectly. You became my husband, and we will walk through many tomorrows together. As for the past, if you're willing to share, I'll be happy. If you don't want to say, I can understand. Everything is already in the past. Why be obsessed with things that cannot be undone? In that moment, I felt the gap between people, and once again refreshed my understanding of Liu Ruyan. Inspired by her words, I didn't want to hide anything anymore and simply laid it out. That group of people at the wedding is my ex-girlfriend and her best friends. We dated for 7 years. I wanted to marry her, but her heart always liked someone else. After I found out, I decided to break up and return to Jingbei. It just so happened that my parents were constantly urging me to get married, so I agreed casually. Yesterday, I officially broke up with her. She didn't know I was a member of the Jiang family, so she came to the wedding venue to make a scene. As she listened, a very subtle expression appeared on Liu Ruyan's face. Broke up yesterday and got married today? Isn't that a bit rash? Maybe a bit rash, but you and I are just a business marriage. As long as we maintain a stable husband and wife relationship in the eyes of outsiders, isn't that enough? When I said this, the expression of "it's only natural" on my face made the corners of Liu Ruyan's mouth turn up slightly. Then you don't care what your marriage partner is like? Not particularly. I just want to inherit the Jiang group as soon as possible. Liu Ruyan's heart trembled violently. She looked at me fixedly for a long time and then nodded gently. Bai Ningbing was dragged for several hundred meters by security. She had never suffered such humiliation in her life. The other best friends weren't much better off. Several of them were dumped at the gate of the villa, facing the eviction by dozens of security guards, angry but not daring to speak. And below the steps, there were hundreds of reporters carrying cameras, worried because they couldn't film this wedding of the century. Several sharp-eyed reporters recognized Bai Ningbing instantly and hurriedly shouted as they rushed forward to interview her. "Miss Bai, were you also invited to attend the wedding of the third Miss Liu and Mr. Jiang? You don't look very good right now. May I ask what happened inside?" With someone leading the way, a swarm of reporters surged forward to take photos and interview. Bai Ningbing's mood was already at its worst, and now having been caught in such a pathetic photo, she flew into a rage instantly. She directly pushed down the person blocking her, smashed several cameras, and then led her people away in a huff. That night, the news of Bai Ningbing assaulting reporters hit the entertainment headlines. The reputation of the Bai group plummeted overnight, and negative articles emerged incessantly. Even with the Bai family spending money, they couldn't stop it. When Shen Haoyu's call came, Bai Ningbing was locked in her hotel room, smelling of alcohol. "Hello? Bing Bing. I saw the news saying the person marrying into the Liu family is Zheng Fan. He's a member of the Zheng family. So what if he is?" After getting a positive answer, Shen Haoyu's voice carried a hint of excitement. "Ruxu just told me that the project plan jointly prepared by the Bai, Jiang, Liu, and Shen families has taken shape. I heard the final decision for this project lies on the Jingbei side. Since you dated him for so many years, is there any way to ask him for help to get this project into our hands?" Although Bai Ningbing's mind wasn't clear, she still maintained a final sliver of logic. She let out a cold laugh, her tone despairing. "Ask him for help? He's already married Liu Ruyan? So what? Weren't you together for 7 years? Even if you're broken up now, he should still have some old feelings, right? Go try it. Uncle Bai just called me to ask where you were, and his tone was very angry. If you can handle this project, the old man will also cool down and not hold today's events against you, right?" After hearing this persuasion, Bai Ningbing's heart wavered slightly. But she didn't dare to be overconfident and only gave an ambiguous answer. Before hanging up, she struggled to get up and wash her face in the bathroom, regaining most of her senses. A few minutes later, Tang Yan knocked and came in, pulling her to start discussing the project as well. Bai Ningbing leaned on the sofa, her gaze coldly looking out the window, her mind in a chaotic mess. This project is a huge piece of meat. Forces from Jingbei, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Macau, and Silicon Valley are all fighting for it. The reason the 4 families in Shanghai united was to eat it securely. And according to gathered intelligence, the person in charge of this project is 10-1 Zhang Jiao, my own aunt. If they could get on this line through me, it would indeed be twice the result with half the effort. After a long silence, Bai Ningbing still decided to give it a try, not just for the project, but also for her own selfishness. She still wanted to find a chance to meet me again. On the second day of the marriage, after getting the certificate, I went directly to the Jiang Group headquarters to take office as vice president. To help me adapt as soon as possible, my father gave me several secretaries and assistants he had personally promoted. I looked at documents and reports all day and finally got a general grasp of the internal situation of the group. When I came to my senses, I found it was already dark. 8 p.m. The only light on in the whole building was in my office. "Why are you here?" Liu Ruyan smiled gently, her tone carrying a hint of helplessness. "Today is our second day of marriage. Logically speaking, I should still be on my honeymoon." I then remembered the subtle expression Liu Ruyan showed when I said I was going to the company after coming out of the Civil Affairs Bureau this morning, and finally understood the meaning of that expression. I explained a bit sheepishly. "It's my first time getting married, no experience, forgot these things. Honeymoons and the like should be what ordinary couples care about, right? We're just a business marriage. We shouldn't need to celebrate, right?" A trace of imperceptible disappointment flashed in Liu Ruyan's eyes, but she quickly adjusted her emotions and opened the passenger door to sit inside. If you're busy, we don't have to celebrate. But we are married after all. Surely Vice President Jiang would agree to have dinner with a busy person? Her tone carried a hint of teasing, which made me unable to help but curl a smile. I nodded readily and got into the car. The dinner was set at a very famous Western restaurant. It was right at dinner time, and since the two of us arrived a bit late, the private rooms were full. I was also hungry and didn't want to bother further. So after getting Liu Ruyan's consent, we took a seat in a corner by the window in the main hall. Getting the menu, Liu Ruyan handed it directly to me, and then introduced several signature dishes of this shop. Following her suggestions, I ordered 4 or 5 dishes I liked, and then handed the menu back to her. Liu Ruyan didn't order anything else. Are you really not going to order a few more? My taste might be a bit strange. You might not be used to it. She shook her head with a smile, her eyes sparkling as she looked at me. Since we are husband and wife, we'll be eating at the same table every day in the future. What you like, I naturally have to try more of and slowly accept. We're married, not sold into slavery. You still have the right to pick the food you like. You don't need to consider so much, and you can just say whatever is on your mind. We can discuss it. Anything can be discussed? Then, can we discuss not canceling the honeymoon? Looking at her serious expression, I thought she was going to make some request, but what came out was actually the honeymoon. I was momentarily surprised. Do you really want to go on a honeymoon? This wedding was busy for a long time. I want to take a good rest for a while. Besides, the elders of both families also hope we can get close quickly. I think a honeymoon is a very good opportunity. What do you think? Listening to her exceptionally sincere tone, the excuses I had already prepared were stuck in my throat. In all fairness, Liu Ruyan is a very good wife who respects my opinions in every way. A honeymoon is actually optional for me, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings over such a small matter, so I agreed. Upon getting a positive answer, the smile on Liu Ruyan's face became even brighter. Quote, "Then after you finish being busy for a while, I'll arrange it when there's time." Bai Ningbing waited downstairs at the Zhang group for a whole day before seeing me. She followed me to the restaurant, wanting to find a chance to meet alone. But for the whole evening, I never left my seat. The scene of me and Liu Ruyan talking and laughing, picking up food for each other, deeply stung her. The dishes on her table had been served for 2 hours, but she hadn't touched a single bite, her gaze always falling on my gentle, smiling face, finally waiting until I got up to go to the restroom. Bai Ningbing hurriedly followed me out and called out to me in the corridor. "Afan, why would you agree to marry Liu Ruyan?" I turned my head, a flash of surprise in my eyes. If I remember correctly, we've already broken up, right? Does it have anything to do with you whether I get married or not? This nonchalant tone made Bai Ningbing feel belittled, and a surge of anger couldn't help but rise in her heart. The marriage between the Jiang and Liu families was set over a month ago. We hadn't broken up then, and you had already found a replacement. I folded my arms and glanced at her, my tone flat. Yes, I planned to return to Jingbei to get married a month ago. But what do you have to be angry about? You were plotting since 7 years ago to break up on Shen Haoyu's 28th birthday. Is it wrong for me to plan my own way out a month in advance? A few sentences left Bai Ningbing speechless. She clenched her fists, swallowing the unwilling and regretful feelings surging in her chest, still trying to defend herself. My business with him isn't what you think. I know he doesn't like me. It's just that, having known him for so many years, and having that agreement made it an obsession in my heart, I did intend to be with you properly. On the way to Jingbei, I was also prepared to propose to you. I even picked out the wedding rings. Afan, can you believe me once? Is it because you were completely rejected by him that you remembered me, the spare tire? Unfortunately, I'm already married. Bai Ningbing, you should go propose to Shen Haoyu. Maybe he'll agree. My tone was full of unconcealed mockery, which made Bai Ningbing suffer even more. She took a step forward, wanting to grab my hand, but I avoided it. I never liked him. I was confused before and didn't see him for who he was. It wasn't until after that birthday party that I understood. In these 7 years, I've already gotten used to having you by my side. I truly wanted to marry you. Originally, I thought that although she had 1 foot in 2 boats, she still had a sliver of sincerity. Now, after hearing what she said, I felt a bit nauseous. You hate that Shen Haoyu won't accept you, hate that he treats you as a spare tire. Do you feel that having waited for Shen Haoyu for 7 years, your deep affection is a testament for heaven and earth to see, and you're almost moved to tears by yourself? While you hate him, have you ever thought that you are essentially no different from Shen Haoyu? He won't agree and strings you along. You feel unwilling and string me along, you're just two of a kind. Why put on this act of not seeing clearly and regretting the past in front of me? In an instant, the color drained from Bai Ningbing's face, leaving only a sheet of white. I didn't care about her mood at all and didn't want to continue entangling with her, turning back toward the main hall. As the two crossed paths, Bai Ningbing couldn't help but grab me. My patience had reached its limit and I directly shook her off. During the scuffle, a long, unrepaired chandelier overhead gave a creak and fell, heading straight for my head. The moment the danger occurred, Bai Ningbing subconsciously pushed me aside. With a heavy thud, the iron lighting fixture, weighing dozens of pounds, smashed into her shoulder. Pushed several meters away, I happened to run into Liu Ruan, who was arriving. She couldn't help but look back and saw Bai Ningbing collapsed on the ground at a glance. She was curled into a ball in pain, her left hand tightly clutching her right shoulder, her entire face flushed from the pain. The waiters who hurried over upon hearing the sound went forward to check on Bai Ningbing's injury. Liu Ruyan also frowned and asked if I was hurt. After confirming I was unharmed, she breathed a sigh of relief and supported me as we left this troublesome place. Looking at the backs of the two leaving hand in hand, Bai Ningbing, lying on the ground, bit her lip hard. Not wanting to make any sound, yet unable to stop the sobbing in her throat. She closed her eyes in despair, scenes of memories flashing through her mind, all of them related to me. When her stomach ailment flared up, I stayed by her side without leaving, contacted many doctors, and cared for her condition at all times. When she bumped into a wall and bruised her arm, I would immediately boil an egg to gently rub it for her. When she had insomnia at night, I would endure my sleepiness to listen to light music with her and boil cotton candy soup. In the past, as long as it was something related to her, I put my heart into every bit of it. Now she was injured like this to save me, yet I had no reaction at all, grandiosely leaving with someone else. Not until this moment was Bai Ningbing finally certain. The current me was no longer the me she knew, no longer saw her as the only one, and no longer loved her. After returning home, my mood slowly settled down. I lay on the sofa, drinking hot tea, and, recalling the scene that just happened, I was still a bit shaken. I was about to complain to Liu Ruyan when I turned my head and saw her squatting down with a first aid kit. "I'm not hurt. Why did you bring the first aid kit?" Liu Ruyan didn't answer, just gently pointed at my ankle. "Here." My gaze followed, only to find a small piece of skin on my heel had been scraped by a glass shard. Liu Ruyan picked up a cotton swab dipped in alcohol. It might hurt a bit. Normally, I wouldn't care about such a small injury at all, so seeing Liu Ruyan so concerned made me feel a bit embarrassed. It's a small injury, it would be fine without treatment. Don't be so worried. Despite saying that, the moment the alcohol touched the wound, I still gasped. After disinfecting, Liu Ruyan picked up a band-aid to cover the wound. I'll have someone send over some waterproof things later. Remember to wear them when you shower these next couple of days. Be careful not to let water get into the wound. If you need to go out, just wear slippers. I left home as a child to stay with my aunt. After returning to the country, through 4 years of university and 6 years of dating, I was always alone in a foreign place. This was the first time I encountered someone making such a big deal over a small wound on my body. Amidst the warmth, I also wanted to lighten the atmosphere, so I made a small joke. No need to be so troublesome. Maybe by the time your things are delivered, the wound will already be healed. Liu Ruyan raised her eyes and looked at me fixedly, her face showing a seriousness I had never seen before. The reason you were injured today was also because of my oversight. I am to blame. As long as it's a wound, it will hurt. I don't want you to be physically uncomfortable after such a big fright, so I'm being a bit long-winded, but paying more attention never hurts. Just listen to me once, okay? Okay. Whether it was because her tone was too sincere, or because of the self-reproach that flashed in her eyes, my heartstrings were plucked several times, trembling incessantly. I didn't dare to look her directly in the eyes, lowering my gaze and nodding slightly. After Liu Ruyan left with the first aid kit, I received a call from Tang Yan. "A fawn! Are you really this heartless? Bing suffered such a heavy injury to save you, and you won't even come to take a look at her?" Listening to this groundless accusation, I didn't want to have such a bucket of dirty water splashed on me. I let out a cold laugh. If she hadn't been pestering me and wouldn't let go, The chandelier wouldn't have fallen on my head at all. Her injury is just her reaping what she sowed. Can that be blamed on me too? No matter how things are, she still pushed you aside at the life-threatening moment. Do you really not care for any old feelings at all? I almost admired her ability to be so thick-skinned and twist the truth, not wanting to waste any more breath on her. I caught a glimpse of the band-aid on my leg and simply told a lie. I'd like to go see, but my leg is also injured, and I can't go out right now. The phone was silent for over 10 seconds. She cleared her throat, her tone softening. If you can't come, then forget it, but a favor always has to be repaid. How about this? I heard that in a month, there's the kickoff dinner for the Yundao project. Have your secretary send over a few invitations, and we'll call it even. So that was the scheme. I couldn't help but chuckle twice and agreed casually. After hanging up, I sent a few messages to my aunt, asked about the specifics of the project, and then asked her to send over a few invitations tomorrow. For the next few days, no matter what I did, Liu Ruyan followed me. At first, I would persuade her to go be busy with her own business. But I was blocked every time by her using the honeymoon as an excuse. Gradually, I found that as long as Liu Ruyan was by my side, no matter what problem was encountered at work, she could always offer an opinion on everything. Getting used to her presence, through living together day and night, the two of us soon became familiar with each other. Late at night, when I had to work overtime, Liu Ruyan would be by my side with a computer, quietly doing her own things. Occasionally, when she had to go out, she would also report to me immediately. During breaks, she would accompany me out on dates and strolls. I saw many novel and interesting places and trinkets. Half a month later at the Spring Festival, the Jiang and Liu families combined and prepared to gather together for New Year's Eve. The dozen or so members of the two large families sat together, chatting vibrantly. The conversation, in every word, couldn't avoid the newly married young couple. Mother Jiang looked with satisfaction at me, and Liu Ruyan, sitting next to her, sighing with emotion. Afan's stubborn temper is exactly the same as his aunt's. After graduation, I asked him to return to Jingbei, but he wouldn't, insisting on making it on his own outside. I couldn't do anything with him. Ruyan, if he does anything poorly, you must bear with him more. Hearing my mother complain about me in front of so many people, I was a bit indignant and about to defend myself. When Liu Ruyan placed a freshly peeled orange in my hand and spoke with a smile, "Mom, you're exaggerating. Where is Afan stubborn? I think he's very independent and has his own opinions. In the future, together with Auntie, he'll surely be able to carry the burden of the Jiang family. At that time, I'll have to learn more from him. I can't be a drag on him." After she finished, the Liu family followed with praise, which made Mother Jiang grin from ear to ear, her tone full of pleasure. "As long as you two get along, we elders are happy. If you can have a child early, we'll be even happier." Several elders joined in the teasing, and my face and ear tips turned incredibly red. Liu Ruyan noticed the change in my expression and quickly found an excuse to pull me to the garden, blown by the cold winter wind. The color on my face finally returned to normal. A shallow smile curled at the corners of Liu Ruyan's mouth as she proactively changed the subject. "Are you also going to that dinner tomorrow?" "I'm going." Bai Ningbing's invitations were sent out from my hand. I have to go keep an eye on her and see what she's planning. Is there an extra invitation? Give me one too. Hearing this, I raised my head to look at her with eyes full of surprise. This project is okay, but aren't you and your eldest sister busy over at Yuanshuan lately? At such a critical moment, you still want to come and snoop around? Knowing I was joking, she blinked rapidly a few times in response. Of course, I'm not interested in the project. It's just that there's nothing to do during the holidays, and I want to go around with you. I nodded in realization. Remembering I only had one invitation left, I took her downstairs to find my aunt. The project dinner was set at the largest hotel in Jingbei. At 7 p.m., the project leader walked slowly onto the stage to announce the official start of the dinner. The Jiang family's car was stuck on the road and arrived half an hour late. As soon as the door was pushed open, my aunt was surrounded by interested parties who were waiting at the door. Seeing so many people, I didn't want to wade into this muddy water. So I took Liu Ruyan and avoided the crowd to enter. The two of them weren't there for the project to begin with, so they strolled leisurely through the main hall, tasting food and red wine. Standing on the second floor, Bai Ningbing held a glass of champagne and leaned on the railing. At a glance, she saw me whispering in Liu Ruyan's ear, In this month, she had thought a lot. She had already given up on me. I am a member of the Jiang family, and married Liu Ruyan. Her family couldn't afford to offend either side, so she had been persuading herself to let go of the past and recognize reality. But after doing psychological construction for so long, seeing the two of us appearing before her in such an intimate way, she still felt some indignation in her heart. Her face instantly turned black. Shen Haoyu on the side, seeing me after following her gaze, also had his eyes light up. He took Xia Ruxue and headed downstairs. Seeing this, Tang Yan also pulled Bai Ningbing to follow. The four of them passed through the crowd and walked in front of me. Quote, "Third miss, long time no see. I heard you were just married recently. Happy wedding." These words made the scene cold again. Xia Ruxu, finding it hard to speak further, gave Shen Haoyu a look. Shen Haoyu hurriedly stepped forward and waved at me. "Brother Afan, remember me? We met once over 2 months ago." Quote, "Mr. Shen, long time no see." Hearing my voice, Bai Ningbing finally raised her head, just in time to see the cold gaze I swept over her. "Afan, long time no see. I heard you were injured that day. Are you better now? Thanks to you, recovery is going well." My meaningful tone made Bai Ningbing's heart tremble, and a look of guilt appeared on her face. She couldn't help wanting to explain, but before the words could leave her mouth, they were interrupted by Liu Ruyan. "Afan and I accompanied Auntie to the dinner. I didn't expect to meet Ruxu here as well. In 7 years, you've flown all the way to Jingbei from afar. Is there something the matter?" Hearing this, Tang Yan hurriedly bumped Xiaoruxu's hand, signaling her to seize the opportunity. "Our families are also somewhat interested in the Yundao project, and thought about coming to see. I heard Afan's aunt is the leader of this project. I wonder, Wanro, if you could help introduce us for the sake of our past friendship." Liu Ruyan didn't answer her immediately, but raised her head to look at me, seemingly seeking my opinion. After the two of us exchanged glances, Wanru and I would like to help, but as you can see, my aunt is so busy she can't get away right now. I'm afraid it's inconvenient. The three of them looked at each other, understanding these words to mean a refusal. Not wanting to offend, they exchanged a few pleasantries and took their leave. Only Bai Ningbing remained where she was, staring at me fixedly, hesitating to speak. I didn't want to deal with her, took Liu Ruyan and walked away. Yet she followed behind the two, like she had lost her soul. From the main hall to the second floor and then to the garden. Seeing no one around, "Miss Bai has been following me and my husband. Do you have something you want to say?" Bai Ningbing only then realized her behavior was very inappropriate and quickly apologized. "I'm sorry, I drank too much and was a bit confused, couldn't recognize the way." Hearing this flimsy excuse, Liu Ruyan chuckled a few times, but her tone was incredibly cold. Being confused for a moment is one thing. You must never be confused always. Afan cares for old feelings, but I have no interaction with the Bai family at all. There are no old feelings to speak of. The threat in her words made Bai Ningbing's heart sink directly to the bottom. She knew that with the Liu family's capability, as long as Liu Ruyan said a few words casually, the Bai family might disappear from Shanghai one day. Bai Ningbing didn't dare to gamble with her family and compete with her, so she could only grit her teeth and swallow the insult. Turning back to the main hall. "President Jiang, your nephew also has some friendship with us. Can't you look at the master for the sake of the servant and drink this glass we toast to you?" Although she didn't know what was happening inside, as soon as she heard this sentence, she realized something bad had happened and hurriedly burst in. Just as she crossed the crowd to the center hall, before the phrase, "President Jiang, I'm sorry," could leave her mouth, she saw her aunt pick up the phone and call for security. The whole room fell silent for a moment. The other guests looked mockingly at the four people with deathly pale faces. Today is the kickoff dinner for Yundao, not some backdoor or shortcut. Since you all have received invitations, please listen carefully to the press conference that is about to start. Don't follow these few in taking crooked paths, otherwise if you're kicked out of the banquet, don't say I didn't give you face. As a dozen or so security guards pressed the four people to leave, I just happened to return with Liu Ruyan. The couple stood at the door for a long time watching, then exchanged a glance, both seeing a smile in each other's eyes. The host's voice came from the main hall. It seemed the project meeting was about to start. Now that the troublemakers had been driven away, I didn't want to stay here and told her I wanted to go home. Liu Ruyan followed my lead in everything. After sending a message to my aunt, She drove away. For the past few days, the couple had been staying at the old residence, and the household servants had also gone back for the holidays. The house was empty. The two of them curled up on the sofa and watched a movie. Approaching midnight, I suddenly wanted to eat tangyuan for the holiday. It was late at night, and the nearby shops and delivery services had stopped. Looking at the words "unable to deliver" on my phone, I gave a deep sigh. Seeing my look of melancholy, a gentle smile appeared on Liu Ruyan's face. She got up and went into the kitchen, finding a bag of glutinous rice flour from the cabinet. Seeing her actions, I curiously leaned in, my eyes full of surprise. "You actually know how to make tangyuan?" Liu Ruyan saw me messing with the glutinous rice flour and, knowing I also wanted to try, took down 2 aprons and put one on me. "No, I'll find a tutorial to learn. It should be very simple, right?" I thought what she said made a lot of sense and quickly opened my phone. The two of us followed the tutorial for over an hour before barely rolling out a few tangyuan of different sizes and shapes. After the water boiled, I wanted to put them in. Liu Ruyan was afraid I would get burned and hurriedly took the plate, asking me to get 2 bowls. Since there was no colander at home, she put some brown sugar in for seasoning. By the time the 2 bowls of tangyuan were brought out, it was past 12 o'clock. I used a spoon to pick up the largest tangyuan in the bowl and showed off in front of Liu Ruyan. "The biggest one is here. Looks like I'm gonna have good luck this year." Liu Ruyan looked at me with a face full of smiles. I took a bite, the pride on my face stiffening for a few seconds before returning to normal. "Not good?" My eyes rolled around a few times, and I nodded frantically, then extended the spoon in front of her, urging, "It's special and delicious. Do you want to try?" With one glance, Liu Ruyan knew that this plum-sized tangyuan I had rolled wasn't cooked through. Yet she didn't hesitate for a second, lowering her head to eat the remaining half. Seeing that she had fallen for it, the secret laugh at the corner of my mouth could barely be held back. I quickly raised my hand to cover my face. "Good, right?" Yet an amazed expression appeared on her face, and she gave a thumbs up. "Delicious! Sweet and chewy, very much to my taste." When she said this, her eyes sparkled, making me unable to tell if she was being for real or for fake. But I still trusted my own sense of taste. I directly put down the hot bowl and used one hand to lift her chin, wanting to pry open her mouth to see. Liu Ruyan directly swallowed the thing in her mouth. By the time I painstakingly pried her mouth open, I saw nothing. A look of disappointment instantly appeared on my face.